this year, the GenAI market will soar to $50 to $55 billion. But what does this actually mean for businesses in 2026?
Make AI transparent, accountable, fair, safe, secure, sustainable, and privacy preserved.
What opportunities do they have, and what risks should leaders be aware of?
Enhancing the productivity, but also can really bring the real world impact to real people.
Can specialized vendors help companies in responsible AI adoption?
One is at a company level, how to empower the leaders to just adopt responsible AI framework and understand, the linkage between the economic, benefits with the responsible behavior.
What risks will organizations face in 2026 if they deploy AI without proper governance? And how can early governance turn those risks into an advantage? Hey everybody, welcome to another podcast where we chat with tech leaders and founders about the latest trends in technology, product innovation, and digital transformation. I'm Mohsin Ali, an APM AI here at PureLogics, with 8 years of experience in everything AI. Last year, Generative AI dominated the headlines. Predictions suggest that this year, the Gen AI market will soar to $50 to $55 billion. These are impressive numbers. But what does this actually mean for businesses in 2026? What opportunities do they have, and what risks should leaders be aware of? Today, I have the perfect guest to talk about these topics. With over 20 years of experience in innovation, AI, and finance, he is the Chief Responsible AI Officer and Executive Director at AI 2030. He is the founder and CEO of FinTech for Good, and he has also served as the Global Head of Innovation and GTM at AWS. Xiaochen Zhang, welcome to the show. It's fantastic to have you.
Thank you, and great to be on the show.
So let's start with talking about responsible AI in general. From your experience as a Chief Responsible AI Officer, what is responsible AI, and what are the most common misconceptions about it?
Yeah, thank you for the question. For us, that's we developed a responsible AI framework, and which is make AI transparent, accountable, fair, safe, secure, sustainable, and privacy preserved. And those elements are really very important to just make sure that not only AI can generate the economic benefits and enhancing the productivity, but also can really bring the real world impact to real people.
Definitely. I wanted to follow that up with the question that can specialized vendors help companies in responsible AI adoption? Is this a role to be developed in-house, or can specialized vendors be of assistance?
Yeah, so from the responsible AI adoption, there are a lot of gaps, and many times that's it's a combination between in-house and vendor support. And we at AI 2030 identified three main gaps in responsible AI adoption. One is around awareness. So if the leaders in a company don't know about it, don't care about it, or if they know about it, care about it, don't know how to do to just make it responsible, and naturally that's it will not happen. And of course, if one company just start adopting that, and that's the industry doesn't care about it, finally that's then the costs are borne by specific company, and that itself make it not as a competitive advantage, but potentially becoming a cost. And so then the whole industry need to be aware of that. And then globally speaking, if one country is just doing AI responsibly, all the other countries don't do, and then you have multiple systems and standards out there, and then AI is just really being advanced in different pathway, that can cause a lot of chaos. So awareness parts at three levels. One is at a company level, how to empower the leaders to just adopt responsible AI framework and understand the linkage between the economic benefits with the responsible behavior, and also to translate that kind of mindset into strategy, into action plan, into resource allocation, into hiring, and that itself need a lot of work. And that is both internal and external. And from the industry wise, that there are a lot of education need to happen. So where that's the leaders, the followers, all within that industry need to just really looking at responsible AI in the way that they understand the risks if they don't do it responsibly, and if you do it as industry, and then what will the progress which can be achieved by the industry. And again, there's a lot of education, awareness raising, and all that need to happen at the industry level globally. And then there's a lot of policy coordination, standards coordination, and also at the global level, learning and learning by doing need to happen. So that all need a lot of intention, and some are led by internal team, others led by vendors or the broader ecosystem player. The second gap we have identified is around the not the talent gap. So when any organization want to do it responsibly, and then the number one is that are your workforce or talents ready for taking on taking on responsible AI, meaning that I have had a conversation and also engagement with many of the leaders and executive, in the large and small companies, where that's typically that AI building team have, for example, 30 engineers, and none of them have any ethics or even human science or social science related background. And the engineers can really have the best intention to build it responsibly, but the lack of expertise and in amongst the team, and that becoming a huge challenge. So number one, from the talent related ask is really to allocate resources properly in any of the AI system design, where that you can bring the engineering expertise and the non-engineering expertise together. That is the critical part of the puzzle. The second part is that from engineering in general need to just have better understanding or knowledge about ethics, about compliance, about other social science related issue, and which they when they build, and then they really have some internal system, and which can help them to really build responsibly. Vice versa, for business leaders who are making AI related decision, if they have zero knowledge or access to engineering background, engineering knowledge, naturally, and you can just have the best framework, most responsible, and then that's the from the technical side, it doesn't make any sense. So you do need to have the current talent or workforce be able to talk to both sides. And the third part is that from the entry level professionals and students, and who are the most vulnerable in this new AI economy, where that's many of us who are have tens or 20s or 30s of years of experience. This is how we grow professionally, and we started by doing some undifferentiated job, data collection and analysis, and all that. Where there are senior people who are around us that give us opportunity to fail, to learn, and also help us to grow. And the company bear that cost with the hope that the junior will becoming senior, and then the value will stay with the company. And now with AI, which can just take away a lot of undifferentiated task, and many of the students and entry level professional have seen that the type of jobs that they can do immediately are disappearing. And how can they just without learning by doing or even by feeling, from doing a different job to grow professionally, that's a pathway is disappearing. And that is a bigger problem for the whole society, and how we can just really bring the regulators, educators, employers, and learners all together to just get the future talents ready in and thrive in the AI economy. That's the second talent related challenge. The third part is really around the tooling side. And in many conversations, that's leaders who are convinced they need to do AI responsibly, and then either someone will tell you, that oh, we don't have any tools which can help us to just make remove bias, or just to just reducing carbon emission from our AI models. Or there are tons of CEOs will tell you that we are being offered by vendors too many tools. Everyone claim that they are good in security, that is good in privacy, but we don't know which one to choose from and what will be the consequence to us. So there are tooling gaps where definitely you have the strategy to build internally, or you have strategy to just procure directly from vendor. Both has its advantage and disadvantage, and where the core challenge there is how to reduce the technicality for private and public sector leaders who are building a system to just identify the right tools, and helping them to just really do the job responsibly. And so that's through, for example, responsible AI marketplace, and to curate the right tools, and then to through the open source type of validation, and then to provide this more credible type of tooling, and which help the leaders to really building AI responsibly with the right tools, achieve the right result.
Fantastic. That was very insightful for me as an AI professional. The gaps that you've identified, those were extremely interesting. Raising awareness, bridging the talent gap, and the tooling gap in the adoption of the tools needed to build AI responsibly. Could we unpack those? Let's start with the awareness side. How do you bring about the commercial benefits? How do you emphasize the importance of the commercial benefits to business owners?
Yeah, so we have a few main approach. Number one is really around identify who are our changing agent, and we cannot do it by ourselves. We have to just empower others to carry the message, and then to take responsible leadership. Number one is we try to empower leaders to lead with responsibility. The second, part is that we need to give them tools, and not only a framework, because the framework can just stay there on a bookshelf, and without achieving anything. So we have developed a program called Responsible AI Pledge. So from the pledge, process, where that we translate the framework into actionable small steps, where there are foundational higher level steps. There's also concrete very detailed operational playbook. And so from the higher level, we from the pledge, we ask the leaders in the company to pledge a number of activities. Number one is that you as a leader of the company, the company need to pledge to adopt a responsible AI framework. Can be the AI 2030 framework, can be the NIST framework, can be the ISO framework. It doesn't matter. But by adopting a framework, naturally your work will be guided by principle, and that the process where that's leaders coming together within a company to adopt the framework. Naturally, there are a lot of learning, decision making, engagement all happened. So by push them to adopt a framework, that push them to take the right actions. The second part is that we ask them to just establish a AI governance body. So by the end of the day, that someone need to be responsible or accountable for the AI system that they are building. So if everyone is accountable, that also means nobody is accountable. So then the right resources need to be allocated. Say, hey, this is the body, AI governance body, and chaired by this person, participated by that person. The decision making, power is balanced in that way, and who can just have the final say. And if at what kind of scenario situation. So with that kind of clarity, if there are any AI related major failure, and then the company can really take immediate action, and also just go to the person who is responsible or accountable for the overall result of the AI system. So that can just really help the company to really design and allocate the resources properly, and then make their AI related work accountable. And the third, pledge we asked them is around talent development. Or, we have seen that many organizations have translated their AI strategy into a firing strategy, and many of the company project or predict or even just calculate return of investment from AI from how many people they fire. That itself in the long run and is against the interest of the company, because if you just as of now and get your uh, most important assets, which are your human capital, fired because of this, nearsighted um, activity or profit-driven, goal, where that's, in the long run, people who really know your company and know the strategy and know the customers, know customers' problem, have customer relations, and when you want to really innovate, and then those assets, those institutional memories are gone, and then you basically are now at the mercy of AI, at the mercy of limited information, limited knowledge, limited assets. And then that itself, definitely, I think, is a big loss for the company. So again, go back to the pledge. If they can incorporate, AI workforce development and into their broader AI strategy, then they will treat their employee and in a very different way. Then they will not treat them as a part of a larger automation process. Then they will treat them as an assets and treat them as a human capital, treat them as a talent. And then that's, by bringing, human and machine collaborative intelligence back into the company, and then they can achieve, the long-term growth. The last, one that we ask the company to pledge is um, data reporting. And it's very clear that many of the leaders are just being driven by the market to just running with competitors or racing with the competitors, trying to just, win the game, win the competition, or not losing at least. But many times, and because of they are just running, and especially running without data. And then you may running toward a very bad direction, and that can lead to major failure, or even just lose your whole business. And so there, that's how to just we ask them that's as a company doing AI to just record and report your data systematically, and that can be very helpful for your internal stakeholder and external stakeholder, where that's and your internal stakeholder, no matter your board, your company, understand what are the gaps. And when you ask the resources from the board, then they understand, here are the gap, here, with this investment, this is what you can achieve. Then you get that, decision making just be a lot more smoother. And then from the internal stakeholder, where that's many times you ask them, your employee to take certain actions without data, they're not convinced. If they are not convinced, then they will interpret your policy procedure in their own way. And after that, if everyone interprets your process in a different way, this process will fail. So then externally, that's you don't want to lose trust with your customers, and you without the data, you can be sued by your customer, and that to gain back that trust will take a lot more investment than just not losing it. Having the right data to communicate that data with your customer, and then that can just help you to build long-term trust.
Fantastic. The multi-pronged approach to address different aspects of responsible AI with proper decision-making hierarchies, with proper accountability through data transparency, through addressing the need to retain your human capital. I find that to be very insightful and very interesting. You've covered the topic very well. Just moving over to the talent gap. You talked about entry-level professionals not having the same pathway that you and I have had, the opportunity to make mistakes, the tolerance to make mistakes, to practice different frameworks, to practice distinct jobs in order to build yourself as a professional. With that shrinking down, what does AI 2030 envision to address that gap?
Yeah, so number one part is really bring all the stakeholders together at a table and to identify this as an issue, and also move this up to the priority in amongst the core stakeholders. And we organized several roundtables at the state level, at the city level, and mainly bring the state government together with employer, with universities, with community college, with also the learners all together to surface what are the main issues there, and who can take what part of the work. And because by the end of the day, the implication is that everyone need to just change their business model, and broadly speaking. And so what does that model look like? And who should bear what cost? And what does the new process look like? How do they coordinate? So we need to have a lot of conversation to just get that right. And we just finished a report for Illinois AI Workforce Development Roundtable synthetic report, and there that's we identified quite a number of very interesting areas where that's for Illinois, how the states should just take on some of the findings. And number one is from the innovative policy making, where that's because policymakers provide a very important role there to just either to make guide the private, provide the right signal to the private sector, to the university, or through the policy related incentive. If the universities or employers taking on certain obligation or action, then there are tax or other benefits we can design in supporting the young professionals or students and all that. There are a lot of things where that's the government can do. And for example, demonstration center type of or center of excellence, where that's by investing in such collaboration, where that's all the other universities or employers can see results, and then they can just with how the new business model, how everyone can benefit from the new business model. And then if the government through policy initiative make that investment, then that demonstration related effect can be very, very visible and highly effective. Then from the employers, where that's now if employers for the sake of competition and need to just really say having humans to do more differentiated job. then you need to have a strategy how you can just engage or provide opportunity, for the entry level students and the professionals. That may not happen, in your assembly line, in your office, but then you need to make that investment, meaning that through mentorship, through apprenticeship, through open your, the open factory or some other type of engagement where that's bring your senior professionals interact with the entry level students and all that, and through summer school other engagements, and bring those real world use cases to the students. Then students can really solve real world problem, and then you also need to just provide that opportunity or engage and with to observe the behavior and learning pattern and the success of the young professionals. Then you are able to just identify those who are aligned with your mission, and then to just build your long-term workforce pipeline.
What risks will organizations face in 2026 if they deploy AI without proper governance? And how can early governance turn those risks into an advantage?
The number one risk is, I think, is not doing it. Meaning that if many more organizations are going to do AI responsibly, and naturally that's it's try to use a metaphor. When the sea level change, and then the shallow side of the land will show very quickly. So you don't want to be that one. And
Absolutely.
that is the number one risk, and risk of not doing it. And number two is that now that the customers are a lot more informed, and at an early stage, those individuals as customers who really don't care or don't know more about your tricks, meaning that there are buttons that you just say, hey, you need to turn it on, you need to turn it off, and it's your responsibility. And then you hide some buttons here and there, and then you get your way. And I think with a new in 2026, many customers are now very well informed, and then by trying to using tricks to trick your customer, and then you will be surfaced or by or if you still again try to trick your customer and that strategy, it will be very easy to just be exposed by your customer, and then you will lose your customer trust. And the third is that in 2026, that's especially we see that EU AI Act already in enforcement. And if you're a global company, where that's if you treat your customers differently in different markets, and that now many customers are global citizens, meaning that I'm traveling or living in multiple countries, and then I use your software or your application in multiple market. In this country, you treat me this way. That country, you treat me that way. That itself will also becoming an issue. Then you need to really the global, standardized operation, and that's just if you want to standardize that, naturally that's the compliance part will be very important. You probably need lower to the bottom is not the option. You have to change your behavior and change your process for global standardization. The last part is really around the availability of the tools, and in before you'll hear many times that responsible AI tools are not available, and now that claim is not there. And there are a lot of tools which are built specific addressing security, transparency, accountability, fairness, and all those problems. The claim that you cannot build responsibly. You cannot explain your model. You cannot just tell tell why the result with the model process. That itself is not good enough. And so then you have the tools, and that you are empowered, enabled to do that. And then the question now back to you is that why don't you do it? I think that will change a lot of dynamic between the company, with the regulators, with your customers.
Absolutely. So, just concluding everything, responsible AI is no longer just a choice. It's not just an ethical compliance metric, it's a necessity right now in order to gain trust from your customers. That's it from my side. Thank you so much, Xiaochen, for your time. It's been a very pleasant and insightful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to continue our conversation. Thank you.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Xiaochen. Bye.